this week I discovered 2 Gen Z things that I was
you-
like, I gotta talk about it on the podcast. Here's what I did to look this way.
Right.
Take heavy drugs, break your face with hammers. I listened to him talk for like 10 minutes and I was like, okay.
Here we go! Stay a while and listen. It's good!
Let's get ready to talk about video games on the internet and wrestle.
Yay!
Woo! In this quarter, it's me, Matt, and I'm here with Colette, and we're entering the chat.
It's me, Colette. Hello.
Hello.
We missed you guys. We weren't fully AFK for a week. I was AFK because life happened and Matt soloed it. Thank you, Matt, kindly.
Fucking life, man. Get out of here.
I know. It's like so many things, all the different elements of life that are not me playing video games are like, God.
I don't want to do life. I want to pretend to be someone else's life and have a farm in a game.
Okay, yes, that's fair.
You know what I mean?
Fair.
Like I want to have someone else's. I don't want to do my chores. I want to do chores in Elder Scrolls Online, where I have to like do 3 crafting recipes every day in order to level up my crafting skills. You know?
Yeah, fair.
And earn a little scratch so I can buy a cool candle holder for my house.
Man, speaking of earning scratch, okay, so totally random offshoot, but there's all these like mobile games that have all these weird things like, play this game enough and you'll win money and we'll PayPal it to you or whatever. I've never played those games. I just know they exist.
They exist,
and maybe,
but they exist as like weird, sketchy ads, but like, do they really exist?
I don't really. I would never click one. I don't want anything to do with that. Like some people play solitaire, like card games that like promise to pay you, whatever.
Yeesh.
Anyway, so I saw a game the other day and I was like, okay, that is truly one of the wildest twists I have ever seen. It's kind of like a mashup between a matching, like a match, not a match 3 game, but a what do you call it? It's like a type of game where you like combine things to make bigger things. Merge. Thank you. So it's basically like a merge game, but then that smashed into a like Genshin type, you have to roll for characters and outfits and all that stuff, the microtransactions.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's interesting. But the setting is that you are a florist and you are trying to restart a new life with your child because you're terrible. This is like it's set in China, I think, and it's like it's from like hundreds of years ago, like the time period. Anyway, TLDR. Supposedly, there's a chance in the game where if you play enough of it in a certain way, you can win real bouquets, and they will send you a bouquet of flowers to your house. And I was like, that is the most random thing.
Okay.
What?
Number 1.
Hold on, it has a name. Because I have
I just got a computer virus from hearing you talk about that game.
Garden Tale, it's called. Garden
Number
Tale.
2, even if you were like scraping all my data and spying on me in exchange for like 5 cents via PayPal every 6 weeks, then like that's super sketch, but like Instagram's already doing that to you. So there you could argue there is a world where you should get paid for giving up all your data. But number 3,
I mean, heaven forbid, right? Like you get something.
But now we're saying, oh, just put your address, your home address into this sketchy Chinese app and then we'll send you flowers.
Thought.
It's like
I was like, your address? And I just remember being like, okay, the first thing was that's really wild. But then I just thought about like young women playing who would be like, oh, I want pretty flowers for my house. Flowers are expensive, and just being like, ugh. So speaking of things in the world that are terrible, This week I discovered 2 Gen Z things that I was
you-
like, I gotta talk about it on the podcast.
You teased me a little bit about what this was, but I'm now eager. I don't know what Colette's about to talk about, but I'm excited to hear it.
Okay, so I just want to warn everybody that neither thing has anything to do with games. It was just 2 moments during the week where I went, like, I kind of went down a hole, right? So I was like, oh my God, like, what is this? And then I like dug into the thing, and then I went like, I want off this planet. Like, it's just, it is like that, right?
And I will be the arbiter of like, is this truly the end of civilization, what you're about to say, or are we just being boomers? You know what I mean?
I don't think we're being boomers.
Where on the scale, on the boomer scale, are we going to fall here?
Well, I know the listeners are probably going to say something about that too, and I hope they do. Okay, so the first thing is called looksmaxing, and it's spelled LOOKMAXXING. So
right,
I had heard the term before. It's floating around TikTok a little, and basically it's just yet another slang word that means like make the absolute like most of your looks and do your best to look amazing. So like the chicks will want to sit on your dick. Yeah.
Maximize.
It's a guy thing.
Your. Oh, okay. So looks maxing is for men. Men are doing this to.
There are some women doing it.
It was a get ready with
a woman
me
thing.
Ladies we're getting ready to go out kind of thing.
Well, it might be. I might not have gotten that far down the hole because what happened to me was I saw an article, I think on CNN, about so like every movement, there are influencers, right? The biggest influencers. So the biggest influencer, the male one of the looks maxing movement, goes by the username clavicular, which is like a play on clavicle.
Okay.
And he started injecting himself with hormones at 14 and talking about it at great length in forums. I found out that one of the things that they promote is breaking your facial bones with a hammer in order to change the structure of them. Yes, thank you. Yes, you are now having the reaction I had. And he is a streamer.
We were going to be talking about the kids saying dumb slang, which then would just be us two boomers being like, just why can't kids say real words? But now you're literally talking about self-harm in pursuit
it's horrific.
Of beauty, and that is
like, let me just say that this kid already looked like a male model before he started any of that. Like, he's a very good looking, he has specific aligned features that you're like, that's a good looking man.
A classically attractive. Injecting hormones. With what? Growth hormones, steroids to get more muscular? What is this?
Yes, apparently, like, that's a part of it. There are, like, he was doing like steroids to like buff himself up, but then there was also like stuff about like changing the shape of his face. Wow. And I think like on top of that part of it, the part that's so upsetting to me is that it's kind of like the far right podcasters and stuff where like they're putting these messages out there and like, that a lot of like young kids are hearing it.
Vulnerable. It's kind of yes.
It's kind of a similar thing, but like the messages are super poisonous. Like, here's what I did to look this way. Right. Take heavy drugs, break your face with hammers. Et cetera, et cetera. And it's just really like, and then like I read like there's a looksmaxing Reddit, and I was like, oh wow. But
looksmaxing, is there an innocent version of this where it's like dress nice and get a cool haircut, or is looksmaxing specifically about like changing your body in a way?
Yeah. Like you would be considered, and it's gross and it's weird, and it's all about like if like looks are the most important currency you have, and so you have to do the maximum to. It's really fucking gross. And like I listened to him talk for like 10 minutes, and I was like, okay,
yeah.
So.
Why did this come up? Like, why did someone in your life like say like, look at this guy, this is crazy. Like, what happened there?
I was just reading and I saw an article. It wasn't on the BBC. The BBC article is like days old. I think it was on. New York Times. New York Times has a story
I've
about
heard of
the
them.
guy, about clavicular, and that's what I read. And then I was like, what in the fucking fuck?
Obviously, this is objectively horrific, and I don't know anything about it. So, is it a trend, or is it just a couple of weird guys and vulnerable
Oh no, we're talking
teens?
whole websites, whole forums,
Yeah.
years. Like he was
Right.
hanging out on these as a teenager, like when he was 14 and 15,
Okay.
hanging out on these forums that are like
So, like,
off all the main
it is a bona fide
platforms.
subculture.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I guess I'm trying to get at like this is it is not an eating disorder, but it feels very adjacent to eating disorders. And
It
like
does.
what I've
It
learned,
does.
so I literally stood up in front of 200 high school kids
You did.
last week to talk about how, social media and the internet are good and could be good, but they've been co-opted by for-profit algorithms, which will then serve you whatever it thinks you can't look away from in pursuit of profit. And you should know about that. And I've given the talk a few times to parents and teachers, and they wanted to have me in for kids. And the point is, if Instagram's algorithm thinks that you will look at anorexia content, then it will serve that to you, and it has. And kids have been harmed. And I kind of try to say like, hey, look, social media is not going to fuck most of you up, but it will fuck up vulnerable people, and specifically girls and young women, statistically and whatever, based on what I learned, 2,600 lawsuits that are currently pending or settled against social media companies.
I saw it from Zuckerberg being on the stand.
He testified today.
Right?
And I'm really bummed about the coverage that I'm seeing around it, because so far, and I'm not a legal expert, but what I am taking away from the trial that's going on right now, where the head of Instagram and Zuck are testifying, is like, attorneys are like, look at all this evidence that says these platforms are addictive. And then these CEOs are like, no, it's not. And that's the story. That like, there's nothing else to say, because it's just presenting like, we are saying this and CEOs are saying this, and then I guess it's up to a jury to decide whether or not these kids who committed suicide are going to get justice or whatever.
Right. And that's a lot. That's
anyway,
really challenging.
So everything you're talking about to me feels like, oh, this is the same shit in a different package, where it's, hey, how can we prey upon and grift upon and make money on kids who feel like they're not good enough? And in this case, it seems to be young men and boys or whatever.
Also, another thing I forgot to say about this trend is that it's super tied to the incel community. Which
Yeah. Right.
Right. So, but yeah, I appreciate you saying that, because it really makes me, it takes me out of the shock to go, oh, this is like an eating disorder kind of, but it's like, drug related,
it's not food, but it is like, it is body dysmorphia is what it is, which is
what's interesting
connected.
Is that when you talked about this a second ago, I went, well, like when you go and you look up, thinspiration or words like that on Instagram, you'll get a warning. Right. So I was like, well, if I look up looks maxing, will I get a warning? And there's no warning. There should be, though.
So it's nice to hear that there are now warnings, and these are these companies covering their asses. But the young woman that I interviewed a while ago, this was years ago, but who is one of many bringing the lawsuits. She when she was like 11, she created an Instagram account unbeknownst to her parents, and at some point she was like, she searched on Instagram for how to lose 5 pounds, which is like, okay, that's within the realm of what a young girl might think about as she's, going through the tough time of puberty. And within hours, she was getting like anorexia influencers in her feed. And that's how she went down the rabbit hole and got fucked up. And that
there are some influencers that I don't know how they're even still legally on.
Right.
Like there's
This is
a
what I
woman
mean.
that I have seen that I think she weighs about 80 pounds. And like I've seen her and I've been so shocked and upset when I've seen her.
Right.
But she's still there.
Right.
And I'm like, well, no one's like, we have to ban your account because you're promoting like harmful content to minors or to young people. Like I guess they can't do that. I don't know. It's very fraught.
And I would say, because I only because I've been thinking a lot about it and now talking publicly about it, but like, I don't think we should be banning or whose job is it to decide what people can and cannot put on the internet? That is fraught to begin with from a First Amendment point of view. But my argument is, if you want to be 80 pounds and talk about eating disorders, that's your right. And if I want to seek that out and be part of that community, that is my right. But you cannot push that content algorithmically into the face of someone who did not search for it. And make billions of dollars doing that. That is what I feel social media companies are liable for from a harm perspective.
That's a great point. And yes, I agree. It's the promotion of the thing.
And we talked about it in our Discord about how now regulators and Congress, and I don't know if this is coming from Australia or the US or both or whatever, but it's like, hey, we need to protect kids. Yes, we do. But what they're doing is requiring online platforms to verify your age in order to use them, which the shitstorm about Discord is doing. And it's like, that's actually not the solution, because that will have chilling effects on speech and access. So we do need to regulate these companies, but as usual, lawmakers are doing the wrong thing, which is going to damage the internet. And so now we're fucked on both ends. These bajillion dollar companies don't have our interests, and they're going to run amok as they have been. And we have no one protecting us from the harm, because they're just and it's a Trojan. Someone in our Discord was saying, and I believe they're right, it's also a Trojan horse, because I think well-meaning lawmakers are trying to do the right thing, but then far-right shitbags are also weaseling their way in and using these protect the kids laws to censor content and ban porn and whatever else, and pretend that gay people don't exist on the internet. And it's really hard, because if you talk to an average normal parent, they want to protect their kids. So they look at this legislation and they're like, yeah, this does seem like a good plan. And we here on the internet are like, actually, no, it's not.
Yeah.
And here's why. And it's really complicated. Oh, you don't understand? Okay, I guess we'll never.
Yeah, that's the hard part. Is it
progress.
Ultimately, in the best circumstances, people that had grown up on the internet would be the people helping to make internet laws that make sense, because we understand the space so much better. But of course it's not. It's old white men, and
how it used to be.
Not done that.
Because like the thing that I keep coming back to in these talks because I've spent many hours like putting the narrative together, and it's like the web was designed to be open and interoperable, and the web was designed to be like, you can have a web page and I can have a web page and we can connect to each other, whatever. And now it's all centralized for these companies to just feed off of our anxiety and our addiction to the scroll. And that's not the envision. That was not how the web was envisioned. It was not supposed to be like this.
Speaking of anxiety and addiction.
Yes.
That leads to my second horrible thing I learned this week.
Yes, please.
People are listening to this and they're like, fuck, just talk about games,
what the fuck did I turn on? I just want to hear about, High Guard.
Okay, this is way less serious than the first thing. Okay, I promise. So today, via BuzzFeed, I learned about a thing called a microdrama. Oh, it's so awful. Okay.
Oh, I think I did see something about this.
okay, so you watch a show, right? So for a while, most TV shows were an hour long each episode. Then, you started to get some shows that would be like 45 minutes
Yeah.
or whatever. Then on the anime side of the world, you started seeing sometimes shows that were like 15 minutes or 20 minutes an episode.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Okay. But it worked a little better for
Which
some
is the
shows that were
same as
lighter.
like kids cartoons have historically been,
They're short too.
This is a 30-minute block of TV, but we're dividing it into two 12-minute episodes with space for commercials. So that format I don't think is like new, but I think it was more like for kids. So that's interesting.
Well, what I'm about to tell you
it.
is new, I promise.
Yeah.
So a microdrama. A microdrama is apparently all over the algos, which I wouldn't know because I don't use TikTok, but it's all over the algos. And here's what it is. It's whole shows that are 60 seconds long an episode. And it's like, oh, this show is, a tropey romance and it's 50 episodes, but each one is a minute long, right?
Okay.
So it's designed to cater to the short attention spans that have been cultivated by the use of doom scroll based social media.
Yeah.
Okay, so all this sucks, right? But what if the shows were really good? Then you'd be like, oh, this is kind of addictive and fun, right?
Yeah.
I want you to take the worst soap opera you've ever seen.
Yeah.
And then I want you to divide that into 15 pieces and take one of those pieces. And that is the quality of the acting. When I tell you that it felt like day one of acting class in high school where no one knows how to act and everyone is awkward, it is so bad. So
because who's making this? There's no money in this yet, and so
there's $7 million in it. Matt Silverman
invested. Who
the apps that make this stuff, and some of them are specific. There's 3 of them. They have been making money from this shit since like 2024, and it's gotten more
so to clarify,
and more popular.
These are not published on TikTok. They are published in a standalone app.
But then people are capturing it on these apps and making, cuts or whatever, or being like, OMG, like Matt ended up with Sally
that's
or
just
whatever.
Fandom. But so then,
That's
how do I access the content? Do I pay like Netflix to subscribe, or are there ads in between each episode?
A little different. So the whole thing started in China on an app. They're called Duanju in China, but the whole thing was a little bit different. And interestingly enough, this whole thing started on Quibi, which then shut down, of course, but the microdramas stayed and then moved on to other things.
Meaning these shows were fully produced for Quibi?
That part I can't tell you.
Because those were done, some of those were made with real Hollywood talent. Like there was a fuck ton of like Hollywood investment in Quibi, and it was so stupid because
it was super stupid. I'm going to put this link in our chat so you can read about it later and be like, look, what the hell?
Quality, there's 2 discussions here, right? I am less interested in the quality because the quality can improve or vary depending on who's making the content. I'm very interested in the consumption habit and the business model, meaning I could sit down and watch a 15-minute show, or I can watch 15 one-minute clips in a row. Why is that different? And I think it is different because there is some pacing stop-start, some scroll to the next thing, which then potentially creates an opportunity for advertising impressions, right? And also narrative structure of like something happens, narrative arc, and then it cliffhanger / concludes, and then into the next one, which is different from a 30-minute.
Right. In that you have to slam all that into 60 seconds. But so here's why it's super interesting and I believe predatory. Yeah. Okay. So there are manga apps where you can read manga, and there's ads for these all over my feeds. And it'll be like, get the app, read the first 5 not episodes, chapters, enough to get hooked.
Sure.
There's 80 more. Buy tokens so you can read the 80 more, or if the series is running currently, like you can wait like 2 weeks to unlock the episode that everyone else gets that pays on that day.
Yeah.
So there's like kind of like a, you know, like FOMO element, right? But so anyway, I was wrong about the numbers. Microdrama apps made $1.4 billion in US revenue last year.
They made this much money.
Correct. That's what it
says. Like revenue.
That's what Business Insider is reporting.
Yeah, I would love to, I'm not doubting it at all. I am just would love to know more about the business model. I will read about this shortly.
It's fascinating, and I did want to talk to you about it because of our, you know, shared interest in media. Although I will say that I watched, you know, I was like, okay, I'm not going to download the apps. I'm going to pull up one popular one and I'm going to watch like a YouTube playlist. And I watched 2 episodes and I was like, this is horrid. I cannot, like, it's like, it makes Twilight look like the Pulitzer Prize. Like, unbelievably bad.
Yeah, that's the secondary conversation of like, have our standards for media
plummeted,
sunk so low, or has it always been, have we always been suckers for meaning you and I and people we like to hang out with and our friends and our media friend, like we all agree that this is bullshit, but like people have been watching soap operas and bad
I was
television.
Just about to say, that's
forever.
Soap operas is the soap operas is the old version of this, in my opinion. This is the social media-ized version of this, but the acting is just worse than soap operas, like by a lot. So I have said on the show a few times before, I really like Asian dramas. And some people are like, oh, they're kind of on par with soap operas. I don't agree. Some are not as good as others, but that has also been a big movement in the last like 10 years, especially with Korean drama, which has made Netflix a ton of money and eventually led to Squid Game and you know, stuff like that. Right. So like, I think there's something there, but I think the thing that was like the most troubling to me is it was like, well, you know, people are killing their cable subscription so they could spend like $300 reading or watching like microdramas about werewolves, which is the other link I sent you. And I'm like, look, I don't think there's anything wrong with if that's what they're into. It's not that. It's that this is just another step in training people to pay even less attention for shorter amounts of time.
Right.
And that bothers me. I
get it. Look, I, again, will rail against the contextless nature of short form social media where it is just like, look at this thing. And there's no, it is separating our ability to understand what's truly happening in the world because everything is out of context and we don't know who's making what. And then you add AI, synthetic, whatever. So that soup is very alarming to me and I will rail against it and I don't consume it whenever possible.
Yep.
I don't know if I can get behind the like attention spans are shorter than they have been previously. I don't know if that's true. I think what's definitely true.
Oh, the data is there. It's absolutely true. I have researched this at work.
I'm eager to read or watch or see that because I think for every study that there is showing that it's happening, it is also showing that it is correlated but not caused. You know, correlation and causation are not necessarily the same thing. Now, what I think and what I don't know and what I think about is like, is short form media shortening our attention span, whatever that means? Or is it just easier and faster to, when we need a hit of dopamine or a fix or a bit of entertainment, it is easier to open up TikTok and just scroll rather than budget time or make a concerted effort to sit down and watch a movie or sit down and read a book. And I think that there is so much more media, so much more of it short form that it crowds out our opportunities to consume long form. Therefore, we default to short form. And I think that's harming like the culture. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in an old man way. I mean like it is good and important to like sit and digest meaty
Right.
conceptual things.
Right.
And so if you're only and are you familiar with Howtown? They're former NPR and Vox video journalists who just do the most amazing stuff. And there's a couple of videos that they've done and where it's like, does short form lower our attention span? And I think the jury is somewhat out on it, but it does what they did find. They're citing all these like scientific studies, which is like the constant task switching or the constant switching context of like this thing. It causes people who have just watched a lot of short form media to do worse on cognitive tests immediately after watching it. But it does not necessarily harm your cognition over long term. You know what I mean? But again, I think my very unscientific point, which is not proven either, is that like we're not consuming enough long form because it's way easier. And they use a good analogy of like food, of like I'm hungry and I'm in a supermarket and I really need to eat something right now. And so in aisle 7, there's like steaks and vegetables that I have to like buy and they're expensive and I have to cook them. Blah, blah, blah. Or on aisle 3, I can just grab this bag of Cheetos and eat it. And that's going to solve my immediate hunger now. It's just way easier to always grab the Cheetos than to go through the process of cooking a meal. And
but you're going to have such a reduced food experience.
That's exactly right.
The truth of the matter is, it is up to every individual to have whatever food experience, whatever
Correct.
media experience, whatever music experience they want. And if people are happy watching microdramas, to circle back around to that, if people are happy eating Cheetos all the time instead of regular meals, that is ultimately their prerogative. If they want to do that.
It is their prerogative. But I think the point is that if supermarkets realize that it's way more profitable to only stock Cheetos and there's way more Cheetos than actual nutritious food, then you have food deserts, and even people who who want to do eat healthier don't have access to the food. And I guess I'm trying to make that analogy with the media environment where there is so much fucking garbage on our screens that it can be very challenging. It is harder than ever for a normal, well-meaning person to get like nutritious content. It is out there, and it's
you
some
have
of
to
the
go in
best
search of
stuff
it
ever,
quite
but
specifically.
you have to search very hard, and most people don't know how to search on the internet because most people have been trained to open an app and just see what's scrolling. And that, whose fault is that? Well, some of that is personal responsibility. Some of that is a failure of education. And some of that is tech companies who have engineered the addiction to be so fucking overwhelming that we can't get out of it. And I don't know. I don't know who to fucking blame for all of it. It's all of it. And it's all of us somehow.
It's complicated. I think as we've had this conversation and it's spanned this particular part about the microdramas, I think my takeaway is, the only person I can really affect or change or make decisions for is me, right? Like This is my circle. And so I will make my own choices. And I think maybe it's a waste of my time to judge what other people are deriving happiness from, even if it is doom scrolling, although I don't think it got the name doom scrolling because it's making people happy, but it doesn't matter. All that matters is, what I do for me, right? Not what other people are doing.
Cocaine makes me really happy. I've never done cocaine. I want to be clear.
I was about to say, did you just admit to doing cocaine on our podcast?
Exclusive. but that that's it's an extreme and silly example, but like there is one part of me that's like, man, if cocaine makes you happy, go with God and enjoy your cocaine. And the other part of me is like, please don't do cocaine. It's going to kill you.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm going to say that I have talked about enough horror stories of what is happening in the world around us right now, and that I think that now we should talk about video games.
Oh, we gotta talk about real video games. All right, before we do, I have a surprise segment here. I don't know if you're going to remember this. This is from a long time ago. I am moving things around on my shelves that nobody can see here on the video version, but I'll show everyone later. I'm moving my video game retro collection to my office because in my office there were books on the shelf, and let's be honest, who fucking cares about books? Am I right? Just kidding. She's making a terrible face at me. I'm just kidding. But it's a lot of books of like, oh, here's a bunch of Shakespeare and books from like old clients and stuff. And I'm kind of like, these are not bringing me joy on my shelf. And then in my basement, it's just a pile of, Nintendo games. And I'm like, I wish I could look at these while I'm sitting here for 10 hours a day.
Fair.
So I'm moving stuff around. And that's a long way to say I found this, which is
Back up a little bit.
Yep. Sorry, you got to be in focus. It's a deck of video game trivia cards that we had fun with a long time ago on the show.
I do remember.
Remember?
Yeah.
And my wife got these for me for a Christmas thousands of years ago. And I was like, oh, I'm sure this will be like lame or whatever and dumb fun. And the questions are actually legit. Like legit.
Because remember,
good.
we had like a quiz show thing, and like, didn't you have like even like an interface or something you made for it?
Maybe
am I right?
I think I was just keeping score in a spreadsheet, but I thought it would be fun I could ask one question per episode, and like we can just keep like a running score.
Okay, I love that. I kind of wish I had one too, so I could also ask you questions.
So
back.
Here's what we're gonna do. You and listeners will have to trust me. So I'll pull the first card so you can see, and you probably won't be able to read it, but it has questions and answers on the same side of the card. Okay. Yeah, I can't autofocus my camera. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull, not this, but I'm going to pull the question up so that I will not see the answer as I ask it. And it will be the honor system where you have to trust me that I've A, not looked at the cards previously, B, I'm not peeking at the answer here, and C, that somehow we've not had these questions before, which God help us, I don't think we'll remember which ones we have. We wouldn't remember
if we'd had them before. So
but if they sound familiar to my ear, maybe we were doing them with the kids or whatever, I will say, hey, I'm going to find another one. And that's the honor code here.
That seems okay to me.
Are you ready for the first question for episode, the singular question for episode 239?
I'm ready.
Here's your trivia question, and it's for both of us. Okay. Question. The Typhon are a hostile alien race in which video game? Typhon. The Typhon are a hostile alien race in which video game? Now, we also need to figure out a way for us to both answer without like, maybe we lock in our answer mentally and then it's also the honor system where we can't change based on what the first person says.
Well, I'm just going to tell you right now that my answer is that I do not know, so I don't have to lock that in.
But you gotta do a guess. Think about a video. I have a guess, but I don't think I'm right.
Just trying to think.
I've mentally locked in my answer, and I don't think it's a good one, but it's the best I can come up with.
Okay, wait. Read it one more time.
Yep. The Typhon, Typhon, are a hostile alien race in which video game? These questions are also very meticulous, so I will say like game. If it was a franchise or a larger, I was very impressed with the quality of these questions. I think they're granular. I think they're for super fans, and they're also very accurate. They're not like some shitty, guy in a basement making up Googling questions.
I'm just trying to think of any game that would even be a part of.
That,
and like, I'm going totally blank. Like, I'm like,
yeah,
I don't.
What's a sci-fi game that has, alien enemies? And I hope that listeners are listening to this right now being like, it's, you idiots. It's definitely this game.
Can you just insert the Windows shutdown noise into this part of the podcast? That's me right now. Like, I literally can't think of a single science fiction game that's not like Alien, or does Halo count as a science fiction game?
So Halo is my
never
answer.
played one.
I do not know if that's correct. Okay, well, here's what I know about Halo. I've played many Halos. It is a collective of alien species that form the Covenant, which is like a religious cult that's obsessed with the ring worlds. So I'm speculating that the Typhon is one of the alien races in Halo, but I do not have very good confidence in my answer. But that is my answer.
I'm gonna guess that maybe it's an alien race from Mass Effect.
Okay, that was the other way to go. Okay, so Colette says Mass Effect.
I don't have any other guess because this is
Colette says Mass Effect. I say Halo. The answer is Prey.
Oh,
I know nothing about Prey.
I know nothing about Prey either, but that's okay because these are still fun conversations.
The score is 0-0 as of episode 239. I wonder if there's a bot we could put in the Discord that could kind of update score or something.
That would be fun.
Some sort of running tally system in the podcast channel. So
I would like that.
We'll keep that going. Please play the home game at home. Answer the questions as you hear them in your own mind and let us know your score in the Discord. I don't know. We've talked about a lot of doom and gloom. We were going to talk about the RAMpocalypse, Ramageddon.
Oh no, did I ruin that topic?
I don't know. Do you want to get into it or do you want to just talk about the games? How are you feeling? We're 40 minutes into the show.
Just talk about the games. That's fine. I should have realized that it wasn't going to be a 5-minute conversation about looks maxing and micro dramas.
It could have been, but anytime you want to bring up like media theory, you got to budget 45 minutes.
I know. I should have thought about that. I couldn't help it though. I did really want to talk to you about
it's fast. I'm going to read this Business Insider article because like I need to know like, how is this money being made? If you're making your own app and you're not putting it on social media platforms, and is it subscribers? Is it like how the hell are you monetizing? People are fucking paying for this
every week.
It's crazy.
Every week. But they do that for mobile games too, if you think about it. So it's yeah. So like,
it's
all about subscriptions.
Again, not to go back to this topic before we move on, but the acting is so bad and the production values are so bad, but the storylines are so pulpy and cliffhangery that people are like super addicted. Is that what's happening?
The BuzzFeed article basically frames it as like it's all the tropes smashed into like 60 seconds. You know what I mean? So It's just like trope after trope after trope. But I guess people have weaknesses for a lot of those tropes.
Yeah.
Like they had a list also, BuzzFeed, different article that was like, these are the 10 tropes from microdramas rated by like how okay to how not okay they are.
Oh,
and like,
fascinating. Yeah.
At the end of the list, it was like needs therapy if the trope is like, super controlling boyfriend who wants to know where the girl is all the time.
Totally.
And I'm like, yeah, that's gross.
Totally.
But that's a trope. So
it sounds like these are scientifically like grown in a lab. Like if you could analyze all the addictive qualities of media and then synthesize them in a test tube, that's what this is. And it's actually, I mean, like, are these fucking generated with AI? I mean, they're gonna be.
That was my first thing I said to my husband. I was like, they're so basic and the acting is so bad that you could just make these with AI. People have to be making them with AI, right? So I'll have to read about that too, because I'm curious. But did you want me to talk about my game first, or you want to?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Do we want to? Look, the TLDR, this is something Colette and I were talking a little bit about before we jumped in, and I wanted to bring it up as a news item. And we don't have to linger on it, but like we've been hearing for years now that like AI data centers have been like, they are in such demand for microchips and specific materials in huge quantities. Basically, all this investment in AI has turned the heads of like the big chip makers, like your Nvidias and your AMDs or whoever. And it's like, oh, well, it's way more profitable to provide these specific semiconductors and specific chips at huge quantities for many years. I guess what's happening is these contracts are being made with Microsofts and Googles and whatever and OpenAI to say, hey, you're now making chips exclusively for us for the next 3 years, which is very profitable for chip makers and leaving no chip materials for other
Anybody
electronics manufacturers, specifically RAM and storage for video game consoles, and I presume for other things like phones and whatever.
PCs, like
PCs
that's the
for
next thing
sure.
I think about laptops.
No, it's all of this stuff.
Everything.
So this has sent the price of RAM in any context in devices, pre-built devices, and hey, I just want to buy some RAM for my PC to upgrade it. The prices have gone through the roof, and this has been happening. But where it hit the fan, I guess, culturally for video games, and I don't know, specifically for me, and I think many people who are listening to this, is like the Steam Deck became out of stock. Like the amount of Steam Decks that Valve had to order was used up, and they couldn't manufacture them fast enough to get them back in. And everyone was like, what the fuck? The Steam Deck sold out. Like, what's going on? Is this the RAM shortage? And then Valve subsequently was like, hey, it's February 2026. We announced the Steam Machine, Steam Controller, and the Steam Frame last year. We told you it would be available in early 2026, and we're here to tell you that we would have told you the price and release date by now, but we can't because we can't make them as quickly as we thought.
We wanted
so
to.
We do not know what they're going to cost. I appreciate Valve, good guy Valve. Instead of going silent or going dark or not communicating with the fans or the customers,
they could have.
They're saying, "Hey, man, we wish we could tell you. It was on our calendar to tell you the deets about the specs and the price by now, and we literally can't because we can't get chips." And it's just bumming me out because it's
we were
suddenly
so excited for it.
I'm really excited for these specific products. There is a place in my life for them to really plug in and make my PC gaming life a lot more streamlined. And I'm really excited about that. And I'm willing to pay money for that experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it also makes me really like, this is not a good phrase to use, but like OCD about the devices I already own. Because I'm like, fuck, if my computer breaks or I drop my Steam Deck,
what do you do?
I literally won't be able to get another thing. And I want to be clear, all these are first world problems. OMG, my fancy video game machine is going to cost $100 more, or I have to buy it secondhand. This is all truly privileged first world bullshit. But
but there's a varietal of it that isn't like, hey, if I can't get another computer when the computer that I do work on breaks, I can't do my job. Like,
I'm a little worried about that. Worried about that as a concept.
Yeah.
It feels, and you know what else? Even in just talking about it, it feels a little pandemic-y, because there was a time when we were figuring out what the fuck was going on in 2020, and it was kind of like, oh no, like people in China can't work in factories, therefore they can't make phones and switches, therefore there's not enough of them, therefore all this supply chain shit happened. And that all collapsed for real valid reasons. But right now we're seeing it collapse because people with money are putting all of it, literally all of it, into AI.
Yep.
and some of that makes some sense from a technological progress point of view, and most of it is a big pile of horseshit that will burst, and the chip companies will make their money. They'll be fine.
That's not a problem no matter what.
But like, you know, I don't know. It is just weird to live in a time where it's like, well, we would have had a PS6, but now we physically can't make it in 2027 because we were planning to do it and now we can't. And I don't know that Sony's specifically saying that. I think some of the console manufacturers are like, no, we got our chips a while back, so we're in good shape. But I don't know. It just feels like a piece of the world's economic infrastructure is like crumbling underneath our feet.
Yep.
And that feels alarming, not just from a video game point of view.
Yeah, and I would go into it, but like I was doing some reading this morning that I was talking to a friend about that's very related to this topic, but I just honestly don't want to go down into a deeper and darker hole. So I'm not gonna. And it's a video game podcast, not an, AI is gonna ruin the world podcast. But let's just, the TLDR version is that I have many of the same concerns, and it is a scary time. That's
period. End of segment. Let's talk about the game you're playing, because I know this game and I think it's great. But my stupid family was like, nah, I don't like this game anymore, and so we stopped playing it.
So a few days ago, okay, just as a side note.
Yeah.
So I stopped playing Hades 2 for a while. I think it was because I had finished all the routes up to the point of before 1.0. And then as I recall, 1.0 came out, but it came out around the same time, it was the week of Silent Hill F. And I was
yes, that's right. I remember when you
So I knew I was going to get back to it, but I wasn't sure when, because I did want to finish the game. So I finally decided, okay, I'm ready now, like probably last week or something. And so I was like, okay, let me do my runs through. Let me beat these bosses again and see what happens. And because of the original Hades, I expected that I was going to have to beat the bosses multiple times to unlock all the story. So I've been doing that, and Patrick's been hanging around watching me do it, And like 2 nights ago, I think, he was like, hey, so I bought this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game for like a really good deal. He found it somewhere for like $6.
Perfect.
It's $30 on Steam. So, yep. But the game was talked about a lot when it came out. It came out in 2024, November, and it is called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Splintered Fate. And it is a Hades-like that you can play with other people.
But multiplayer,
and I believe that when it came out, you guys played it and you talked about it on the show.
We got
if
it
I'm not mistaken,
Switch
right?
For the exact reason of like, wouldn't it be cool if Hades was a multiplayer game? And the answer is it is, and it is cool. But so I mean, I'm very interested to hear your experience. The TLDR of ours is that there was so much like reading and like hemming and hawing about what boons or abilities to choose, and then you multiply that by 4 players or even 2 players, one of which was a 9-year-old at the time, and it was kind of just like, oh yeah, cool action, fight, and then like, stop, what does this do? Oh, should I get this? Does this synergize with this? I don't know. And you have to do that for each player. And he just got bored, and we tried it with the rest of the family, and they were kind of like, this is too boring for us. Even though I see what this is, and I see the Hadesness of this game, and I'm like, no, this game is actually great. You just gotta like synergize your builds. And they're like, what the fuck? Get out of here,
Well, I think it's too late for this advice for your family, but for me, having played a ton of Hades and then having played a lot of Hades likes, when it comes to learning the builds, I have a very bombastic approach, which is that the first probably 10, 15 runs, I just pick whatever sounds good.
Totally.
I'm like, that's
the
fun.
Right choice.
I'm like, big fireballs.
Totally.
Because I'm going to have to run it so many times in order to get a feel for all the boons or whatever they are, that I just need to get them. and be like, oh, that's fun, or that doesn't work. Like with Absalom, it was the same thing. I was just I'm just going to get everything, and then when I hit a point where I'm like, okay, that would go well with this, or this would go well with this, then I can start making those builds. But I'm not going to like be overthinking it, in the first 10, 15 times I run.
And when you're doing the builds, you don't have to read as much because you kind of already know what they do because you've been just whacking at them for a couple runs.
Well, and one thing that also helps me, I think, is that like in my brain, and the Hades brain is like attack, special. I'm thinking about Hades too, but cast, because no, Hades 1 has cast too.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's the same 3. So I always have that kind of in my brain. Like these are the arms of the build, and then like no matter what I'm playing, it's pretty likely they're going to use some version of that kind of structure. So then I'm kind of like, oh, all right. So you can have a really strong cast build where you really don't even attack much with your other attacks, or you can be like, oh, I really want my cast to work with my my special or whatever. So so I went into this very bombastic, just like, I have with other Hades likes, and it's fun because then you're just like, new stuff, and you're just like, let's try it. And when we were playing Absalom, Patrick was really funny because like we'd get to a point where you'd have to make these choices, and he'd be like looking at it, and then he'd be like, fuck it, I'm going to die anyway. And he'd just choose something and we'd keep going. But he's totally right. Like to overthink it, I feel like that actually takes some of the joy out of it. That's just
it's
me.
Hard
I'm not trying to criticize the fam. Like,
no. You're absolutely right. But this is it's an interesting game design quandary because you clearly have built a game with very meticulous combinations of abilities that are supposed to be very rewarding, but trying to figure those out is so much work for the player. And so there's a balance there, and some games get it great and some are not as good.
Well, and another thing too is that if you're a min-maxer, this would be probably more, whereas I'm not. And so I can play them this way at first and know that I'm going to use that information later, but I'm not like, oh my God, I got to get the perfect build on run 3. Like, fuck that. Like, I don't even know what I'm doing on run 3 except hitting things. So, but yeah, super fun. Well done, feels nice and snappy, which to me, one of the things that Hades masters in the most ultimate of ways is how satisfying it is to run and dash. I've played other games where they're Hades-like, and I get that dash or that run, and I'm like, it's too slow, man.
Yeah,
like,
totally. Hades
just feels like you're flying all the time, and that is very important to the kind of ongoing dopamine feeling of playing it for me. So I will say that I feel like Turtles also moves pretty nice and brisk. The dashes are good. They do this kind of cool little thing. And I don't know if you did this or not. You probably did. But like, you have your main mission, and then you have these like arcade things you can go off and do. And those kind of let you see what it would be like to get like, for instance, like we did that once, and you go through a level that's not in the main story, and you get to unlock like super powerful things that you could later unlock in the main mode.
Oh, I don't know if we did any of this. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it was really fun. It was like stuff like you can dash like 3 times in a row instead of 1.
Nice.
Stuff that in Hades you have to wait quite late to unlock those things. But suddenly you had it in your hand right there, and you're like, dude,
and the dashes,
we're so strong.
If I'm not mistaken, the dashes you get even early on, they cause like elemental effects or something. So like, oh, your dash will create water effects, and then that can synergize with your other thing that you put in the build, which is great. I love that.
Yeah, but like this just felt like being given access to very strong versions of certain boons when you went, oh, that's really cool. And then in the arcade part, you can unlock currency that you can then go and use in the main part.
Yes,
so that's nice too. It gives you motivation to do it. But yeah, I mean, it's fun, like we were laughing because like we started reading this story at first, and then we're like, fuck it, we don't care about the story. We just want to kill stuff.
No.
So even though the story is like cute and the voices are well done and stuff like that, we're like, let's just kill stuff. It's just a fun time. So that's pretty much what we've been doing. But
I need to look at whether are the turtles styled like the newer movie? No.
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question.
Sorry, I'm playing this video.
I only played Raphael. No,
Mm-hmm.
wait, did I play? Wait. Patrick played Donatello. Did I play
I think
Raphael?
this, look, I don't know with certainty, but I feel like this is, art style wise, is probably adjacent to the Nickelodeon show that might have been from a few years
Right.
back, but not the most recent movie, Mutant Mayhem, which is excellent. If you are interested in, you know, turtle rebooting turtle Ninja Turtles and an art style that looks incredibly like it is very stop motion animation sort of,
Mm-hmm.
it's 3D of course, but it it doesn't look like Pixar. It looks like
Right.
paper. It's hard to describe, but when you see it, it's like, yeah, this looks freaking great.
Yeah, it has like comic book like texture
Comic book
elements,
texture,
which
yes.
is great because it's an
Yep.
homage of where they originated, of course. And
Yep.
I think some of the art is not as dark as the original Turtles is, but I
Right.
feel like when you look at the icons, for instance, they kind of remind me of the original because I
Sure.
read the comic book when I was a teenager, and like,
Nice.
yeah, it's very dark. What they changed it into, like when it became a cartoon in the 80s, was
Totally.
so different. So
I
different.
love the story of the Turtles, and which I don't know deeply, but like I always remember hearing that it was kind of like whoever invented them was like literally a failed comic book writer, and was like, I don't know, fucking what if turtles had ninja swords? I don't know, fucking put that out. And then it became the biggest fucking thing in the universe.
It did. And it's weird because it became something that was very kind of different from what he envisioned.
Yes.
But I think someone saw it and went, oh, we could adapt that for kids if it was this, and this. And then that was the magic formula.
Yeah.
But this game actually really, in my opinion, really nails well between the child version of the Turtles and some of the comics original influence.
Yeah,
and that's
I
a
agree.
nice touch.
Yeah, it's not dark, but it's not
it's not cutesy and over cartoony, and like it's interesting. So we have had a lot of fun. I think that we will probably continue playing it. Especially for the price we got it for. My God, but what I thought was really cute was that I was like, Patrick, what made you buy this? And he's like, well, I saw you playing Hades, and he was like, I wanted to play with you, but I can't. So I decided to get this, and it's kind of like Hades, but we can play it together. And I was like, oh, that's so cute.
You gotta respect Supergiant sticking to their guns on Hades. Obviously, they made the right call and made a fantastic sequel, but it is so kind of weird to not do multiplayer in your sequel game, because there is just something about the format that does lend itself.
It would have changed everything.
I guess
Hades
so.
is at absolute heart, it is a single player game. And
Yes.
really, that is the majority of what Supergiant has made. They've dabbled around a little bit, but the games that have hit the best for them, Bastion, Transistor, they very much have like a strong core character in the middle that interacts with things and has experiences. And so I personally think, and this is a hot take, but I personally think that Hades would have been weakened by multiplayer.
I think you should bolt on a multiplayer experience, but not tie it to the core game. So the core game is the story and the characters and the roguelike, right? But then, similar to what they did with Ghosts of Tsushima, and now they're doing it with Yote as well, where it's like the game is the game, but then there's some
a thing
separate DLC mode where you can go nuts with your friends or play online competitively.
They had to have talked about it. There's no way.
That's what I mean.
Of like,
you think about that, and then they're like, "Nah, we're gonna stick with the core," which is right.
Yeah,
but
I'm glad they did.
Multiplayer Hades, though.
Well, and I personally feel like the nice thing about it is that we've talked about this other times on the show, how a new genre will be kind of invented by someone, and then the iterations will come out, but somewhere in one of those iterations, someone might improve it or make it better. You have exceptions, right? Like, Stardew is really, despite having a very simple formula, has been very hard for anyone to really masterfully hit the same notes, right? I've
It's
played a couple that have been
true.
very good, but it's just hard. So, and I think that this
I would
is,
argue Stardew's not as simple as it seems. Like that the
Oh,
rabbit
no, it's
hole
not.
goes so deep in
It just
every
looks
direction.
that way at first. You're
Right.
like, oh, I'm running a farm, but yeah, no, you're right. It absolutely is. But what I'm hoping, of course, is that we will see games take this formula, and someone will eventually make something that makes you go, oh, it's a totally new thing that iterates on.
This Splintered Fate is like, it's not a no-brainer, but it's like, it's the perfect vehicle for Ninja Turtles. It's like, we need more Ninja Turtles games. And when this came out, I was like, oh, this is so smart and fun for a Ninja Turtles IP.
It is.
And I kind of feel like it came and went. Like, I think it was well reviewed and people liked it, but I don't see people thinking about it or talking about it the same way that they do with Shredder's Revenge, which was the reincarnation of the arcade side-scrolling beat 'em up,
Right.
which also was excellent. But that one, I think, captured the Turtles' imagination, and this one came and went. And I just find that interesting because this game's very good.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I could be wrong, but I think a part of it is the speed at which games move now, and how quickly things come and go is just so fast that very good things can get sped by. I mean, to be honest, I kind of feel like Hades 2 got a little sped by after 1.0 because so many other things were going on, and it was the year of Claire Obscure,
That's
and
right.
et cetera, et cetera. And it is a superlative game that, in my opinion, really absolutely deserved all the accolades Hades got and more, but it didn't get them in the same way. Because like you said, when we talked about this before, they had already done it, and it was just kind of, making it bigger and better and fuller. But ultimately what they achieved with Hades, they had already done it.
Yes. The this is the best game of the year because it's so innovative and fresh. That already happened.
It couldn't be that.
It couldn't be that. It could not be that again. Which you have to assume that they knew that, but it's also hard. Like as a creative person to be like, we made the greatest game of the year of 2021 or whenever Hades came out, and to try again and know that you can never achieve that is a tough little project.
Yeah, I think I could be wrong, right? But like, I kind of think of that as more like, well, we're going to take the fan base that we gained from making this game, and we're going to cater to them in making this sequel rather than trying to make it the next big, amazing thing. It's almost kind of like, let's nurture the franchise.
That's the healthy, nurturing way to look at it. And I'm pretty sure that's the vibe.
I hope so. I mean, I still think they made an amazing game. And like, I'm at a point now, and I'm going to keep this spoiler free, but it is very spoilery. I'm at a point now in the story that connects the key characters of 2 to the key characters of 1.
That's cool.
And it's really cool. And I'm like, oh, this is so cool. This part's finally coming together. And I was telling Patrick how much I was like excited about that, and how it kind of gives you tingles to see, like,
I love that.
There are some key characters that are imprisoned that I'm about to free. I'll put it that way. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty neat. I can't wait for those scenes.
I love it.
Just got to grind a little more. Anyway,
man, looking at Splintered Fate at 60 frames per second is very appealing, and I'm pretty sure that they did a Switch 2 update for the game. So like, it ran fine, but I think there was like a performance mode and a quality mode, and it wasn't amazing on Switch 1, which is where we played it. I think they may have updated it. I could be mistaking it with something else, but just talking about it here makes me think about going back to it now that people have grown up a little bit.
if you want to give it a spin, and you can play online too, right? It's not just co-op. If you want to give it a spin and you want to play with people and your family doesn't want to play, just text me and
I wonder if it's cross-platform. I'll have to look into that as well, because we have the Switch version.
Because you have Switch, right? So we'll have to look, but we'll see. That'd be nice.
Speaking of multiplayer games, online multiplayer games, do you remember literally a year ago when I paid $70 for a little game from Capcom? That was the
I'm
best selling
sorry.
game. Their fastest selling game of all time that debuted and had very positive reviews. And so I got in there day one, and then within a week, the game had overwhelmingly negative reviews on Steam because
We talked about this. I remember it well.
Monster Hunter Wilds just ran like absolute shit on all platforms. And not only that, like there was a lot of like simplification of the hunting mechanics and very almost no like end game monster content. And so on all fronts, it was just like a really weak experience that was immensely frustrating to a lot of people, but especially to me. And I logged in there 2 days ago, and I looked at my Steam history, and I had played it for 78 hours. So and the reason was because the only way I could get it running smoothly was to turn on frame generation. I think in short, the game was rushed and it was shipped, and I think it was kind of just like, just turn on frame generation and it'll be fine. And it was mostly okay, but that creates input latency. And it wasn't terrible, but it just didn't.
Good.
Monster Hunter is a game that just feels good to play because when you're getting in the rhythm of the weapon that you like to play with, it is a flow state game. And to have that hampered by either choppy performance or input lag is just
sucks.
To pay $70 for that with no way to get out of that bargain is just so fucking disappointing.
It's super disappointing.
And so the short version of the story is over many, many months, they released both like content updates that were adding like seasonal events and 1 or 2 new monsters. Okay, blah, blah, blah. And with those was also like, we've made optimizations or something. And, you know, I gave up on the game a long time ago, but I would periodically go check on the Discord or the subreddit to find like, hey, you know, are these updates any good? And often it was like, well, I tested it before the update and after the update, and now it's running worse? ? Oh, now that the update is installed, like my game is crashing more or something. And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, they can't. What is going on with this? This is a marquee game. This is arguably Capcom's most important game, you know, or one of the 3 most important games that they franchises that they put out on the regular, and they cannot get their shit together. And so months went by. Occasionally there were optimizations, but they never seemed to really solve any of the issues. They added new content, but it was not worth reinstalling. And then a couple months ago, a modder in the Monster Hunter community figured out that the game has a bug / feature that's like, hey, if you're in the hub area, the game is constantly checking to see if you have DLC. It's something about, hey, I'm in the hub where I can access the online features. And so if I talk to this Catman, he's going to be like, hey, do you have these DLCs installed? You can buy these DLCs. But there was something broken in the game where it's like, if you're even just in the area where that interface is, the game is like, every second is like, do you have it installed? 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 And that weird bug was causing huge performance issues on top of other unoptimized problems with the game. So this modder like modded the bug out of the game, and people were like, whoa, the game runs so much better now. This is amazing. And I think that directly or indirectly led to Capcom finally like fixing that problem, which they fixed in a patch from maybe a month ago. And now just this past week, they released what they're calling the final patch for Monster Hunter Wilds, which is their way of saying, this is the final like content update for the game until we release the DLC, which is always what they do. It's the base game, patch, then they release Iceborne or Sunbreak, which is going to be the next big DLC. And once the DLC drops for these games, then it's like, okay, now this Monster Hunter generation is fully complete because it's got all the stuff. So this week, I think it was Tuesday, they were like, and here it is, the final update. And it adds a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But in the patch notes, it's like significant optimizations to like, hey, all the flora and fauna that wanders around in the background, hey, we've limited that and we've scaled back this or that. And the draw distance on distant objects, we've optimized that. And all of that affects CPU usage. So basically it's like people were like, I'm running a 4090 and this game can't fucking hit 60 frames per second because there was some sort of CPU bottleneck where you're in this forest with all this life and endemic life and all these objects going around. Something about the game was just like, damaging performance. They optimize all that. The game came out February 28th of 2025. This week, February 15th or 16th, they released this, or 17th, whatever date it was, they released the final patch. And I'm here to tell you that 1 year later, Monster Hunter Wilds is a playable video game. And it's awesome.
I'm so glad it's awesome, but I just think it's sad.
Isn't
but
it
also
so
it's like,
sad?
It's super sad, but then another part of me is like, well, if you paid a lot of money for it and you're now getting to at least enjoy it, there's something good there. Like that's the silver lining.
That's kind of where I'm
just
at.
Worked.
Of like, I booted up Steam and I'm like, oh, I have a free $70 video game that works now because I already own it. And that's a nice surprise on a Tuesday evening.
Yeah. No, I get that. And yeah, it's all about framing, I guess. But there's definitely a part that's like, why was it broken for a year though?
It sucks. I rarely leave reviews on Steam, but I had to add my negative review. I've
seen your review.
It's just, it's not acceptable. And I won't change it because I do not feel I got my money's worth because I bought a game that I couldn't play for a year, even though I played 80 hours of it. So I'm, I cobbled together graphical settings and modifications that allowed me to enjoy a game for 80 hours, but it wasn't a good experience, but also I got 80 hours of content. It's such a weird, I've had such a weird relationship to this game. So I'm happy to be enjoying it. And now there's fuck tons of new quests and monsters and systems in there that I have no idea what they are because they were all added after I gave up. So it's like, it's good. I'm getting my value out of my spend here. But it hurts a little bit because the game's like on sale for like $35. And it's like, oh, so now that it's actually functional, the people who waited, who weren't suckers like me, can now jump in and have a grand old time with a working game. Anyway, just a weird thing, and we'll see what happens with this game going forward. Briefly, I will wrap it up with this other game that they were talking about on the Nextlander podcast, and I was like, this is not a game that I would seek out. It was actually suggested to me in my Steam queue, and I was like, I don't know. I'm not a horror guy. I'm not going to look at this game. But the way they were talking about the game, and I think the trailer of this game doesn't do it justice, because I think the trailer of this game, which is Species Unknown, the trailer of this game shows a lot of multiplayer action in third person. So you're seeing the spacesuits of your friends. Mm-hmm. And I think the animations of the player character are not very good. I think the trailer does this a disservice. Mm-hmm. So I looked at this, I was like, I don't know, whatever. This is not for me. And then they were talking about it on this other podcast, and I looked back at it, and they were raving about the production value of this game. This is some indie game. I don't know who makes it, but it's not a large company. I'll go back on the Steam page to try to find the developer.
Wanna Dev Studio.
Studio. I don't know what else they've done. A couple other things that I don't recognize. Anyway, And when I looked back at it, I was like, number one, the game is $10 from an indie studio. So like the price of
Right.
admission, very low. Number
Very low.
two, there's a free demo. So like there's no reason not to look at it. Three, excellent controller support, ready to go, play it on the couch. Number four, it is exceptionally well made, both from a technical point of view and from a like production value point of view. Like there is something about the lighting and the ships and the environment that is so impressive to me. And there is something also specific. This is so niche to my interests, but as a spaceship man, I need my spaceships to sound and feel cool.
Yeah.
And there are many games that I have touched over the years where it's like, we're getting ready to jump to hyperspace and we're flying to the next star system, and the ship goes blah, 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 pew. And I'm like, no.
No, wrong.
When a spaceship engine needs to go faster than the speed of light, I need the fucking house to shake, and I need stars to start to go blurry, and I need like to feel like I'm entering another dimension as I move through, many light years of space in outer
Sure.
space. And in minute one, so you're in a hub space station, you get your assignment, and then you get on a shuttle with your friends, but I played solo, and the shuttle fucking takes off in the like this could have been a menu where it's like start mission, go. But instead, you physically get on the shuttle takes off in the hangar bay opens, shuttle goes out into space, and then you are fucking revving up into hyperspace, and then you plunge out of hyperspace to go to this derelict ship, which is the source of your mission, and you literally dock with the ship, and you go through the airlock, and then you're in the movie Alien. Because the premise of the game is everyone on the ship is dead. Something is on the ship.
Nice.
And it's your job to do something. The demo mission, at least in the beginning, is like figure out what happened on the ship, find the black box, don't kill they call it the specimen, because the corporate overlords are like, whatever's on the ship, don't kill it. Because we need it to just be on there so we can capture it later or something. But you need to get in there and get the black box to figure out what happened and get out. So it is like an extraction shooter, and there is shooting, but you do not start with a gun. I think you have to unlock weapons. So you start with a handheld map and a flashlight. And
Wow.
There is a fucking killer alien somewhere on this ship. And you and or your friends need to figure out how to, and the map, and so and there's other objectives like get to the bridge, turn the power on so you can unlock other doors and see what the fuck's going on in the ship. Because when you start, the power's cut and you just have a flashlight. And of course, in good classic horror fashion, like you're in space moving at the speed of light, and technology exists to like fly through space, but for some reason your flashlight runs out of batteries and has to be recharged. So if you can accept that conceit, the idea that like you cannot keep your flashlight on at all times, you have to shut it off and be in the dark for some period of time for your flashlight to recharge so that you can then use it again, that amps up the tension, and it's really good, even if it makes zero sense from a science point of view. So I foolishly played this with my son. He was not playing the game, but he was like, what's this game? And I was like, oh, this game's really spooky. We should watch it. And so we're creeping through the ship, and the mission is very simple. And I turn the power back on and I'm in this area where there's like dormitories where clearly it's like sleeping quarters. And there's all the crew members have their faces ripped off and there's blood everywhere. And I was like, kind of like, all right, he's like, oh, don't look at this, or, whatever. And we're moving through. He's like, I don't think this game is for me. I'm like, no, it's definitely not. And then, but you don't know where the alien is. And we started to hear something moving in the ship, and that's where we jumped. Fucking this thing came out from behind a corridor, and it was so fucking terrifying and weird and dark, and the flashlight flashes by, but you don't quite. I mean, it's like, why are monster movies great? Because you don't really see the monster, you just see like eyes in the darkness, and oh my god, it's attacking me, like run. And a lot of it is like, well, I don't have a gun and I can't run very fast. So like, shit, get in there, lock the door, go in the place and shut the door so that this corridor is blocked off. And you're like, and so when you have access to power, you can they can like open and shut different doors to like close off access points. So clearly the game is, so it looks and feels so good. The jump scares are excellent if that's what you like. And I don't, but like,
but it was just well done.
My life is very boring. And so I could use some jump scares in my life. I could use some like adrenaline pumping, in my life. So I'm like, all right.
I gotta say it, like the reviews mention Alien Isolation a lot. Yeah. So, I mean, if you liked it, that's an extremely good game that's like $1.
I know. I really should play Isolation. I know.
I think it's well done. I can't say whether it's as well done as this, not having played both.
But this is different because this is like a multiplayer extraction game where there's not really story. It's like Deep Rock Galactic, but instead of mining, you're trying to retrieve information and do little missions and stuff.
That's fair. Also, I gotta plug Dead Space, and it's been remade like by now, and it's just so nice. It looks terrific, and it's just really well done. I mean, but once again, like you said, not extraction shooter. So I wonder if that is what clicked the switch in your brain.
I love these types of games.
Yeah,
I'm very interested to understand how this game works in multiplayer, because I could not perceive a way to like emote or like to tag, because the map is very like, it's the starter mission and the ship is big but not huge. But what you start to realize, you only see a small portion of the map on a diegetic, like you're not pressing pause to look at a map, you're physically holding a screen up to your face to look at where you are on the map, which is really good, because when you're doing this with the map, you can't see what's in front of you. So in order to get your bearings and see where you are, you're not looking to see if there's a fucking alien in front of you. So it's so good. And so you can only see a certain area of the map. And then in this first ship, you get to the control room and you see the entire map because it's like up on a big screen on the bridge. So you're like, okay, I'm here. And when I'm looking at the map, I can see kind of where I am. So I know that I have to go like up through this corridor and to the left. And eventually I'll get to a locked door that I have to unlock. So you're sort of like solving a maze puzzle in real time as you're watching your back, because at any moment you could get devoured by a sick alien. And that sort of like in the moment, emergent, figure it out stress is where this game really shines, I think. It's very well executed. And I'm eager to see like, all right, so if I finish this first mission and get 1,000 credits, what can I buy? Can I buy a gun? Can I buy a better flashlight? Can I buy and so it has like those systems. It's also in early access. So I see a lot of the reviews are like, hey, this game rules, but after 20 hours, I unlocked everything. And I'm waiting for the next update or whatever, which is great. It's $10.
That makes me tempted to try the demo, but not actually buy the game or
100%.
Buy the game. Because I will say that I have gotten so into some games that have been in early access, and when you get to the end of the content, it sucks when you're really feeling it.
It's a bummer. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so I'm trying to be a little bit more. There's some games that I'm okay. What was the zombie extraction game that we played with Patrick? I'm trying to think of the name of it.
Yes. Oh my god.
But we loved that, and we played that
Yes.
to the end of the content.
The
and we were
isometric
like,
one. What the heck was it
yeah.
called?
And we were like, it's okay. Whisper Mountain something.
Yes, that's right. Thank you.
We were like, okay, we're okay with this. And for us, I think another thing there was that we liked it. And we felt like it was kind of a game that you could play in sessions. And so when we got to the end of it, we were like, okay, cool. It didn't, I don't know. It felt like something we could pick up and put down. And maybe that's why it didn't suck so bad to hit the end of the content.
You kind of hit a natural conclusion and then.
Well,
But
and it was
if you're
also
waiting for
Indonesian
content-
developed, which was cool too.
Yeah. I remember
And we
that.
were like, we want to support that, So,
Right.
but yes, we are now at a point where like we look forward to going back when more content is added to it.
But by that time, you have forgotten about the game or are playing 6 other live service.
Maybe it's all about
story
timing.
game. It's all about
right?
timing.
Like
yes.
I don't know if I would be back on Hades 2 if I hadn't hit a lull. Like I was in a
that's
lull
true.
where I was like, I have some demos, but I don't know if I want to play any of them. Nothing's like really calling me. I'm going to pick this back up and finish it because I never have. And it's one of my favorite games ever.
Yep.
And so that was like a no-brainer, right? And you're playing Monster Hunter Wilds because of the update.
Totally.
So I think it's possible.
Yeah.
I just think it's less likely because of the speed of games, but I still think it's possible you can revisit stuff later.
I think, I don't know this for sure, but I have a feeling this one is kind of going to be, it's like, hey, it's really cheap now in early access, but when it releases, it'll be $25-$30 or something. I don't want to put words in their mouth, but I feel like I read that. And so there is value in buying it and testing it out now. And then when it becomes a full price finished game, you own it for $10, which is nice.
That's true.
It's a nice way to
That's a good
get
point.
get in on the ground floor. But again, I
there's also
applaud
the
them for
aspect
putting
of
out a demo.
Yeah. No,
Like how
totally.
awesome is that?
And I do think, right, like, there are some times where I'll hold back, but there are other times where I just, you play a demo, you really like it, where I just kind of want to be like, look, I know you're in early access, but I do want to support it because I think it's good.
Yep.
So there's that too. I think it's a case-by-case basis kind of thing.
Yep. This is an interesting one to recommend to you because you're an Alien fan and you're a horror fan, but
not an Extraction fan.
No, but set that aside for a minute. Your flavor of horror, as you've discussed a lot, is like psychological suspense.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that this is pretty much jump scare city. You know what I mean?
It is, but I think I always make exceptions when it's done well because like Dead Space and the whole series is full of those.
Totally.
And they're done really well and they don't feel cheap. They work because so much time is put in, especially with Dead Space, into the atmosphere, the sound design. Same thing with, like, honestly, I remember really clearly that Alien Isolation, I was so hyped for it. I got it. And it scared me to death. It was so well executed that I had to put it down because I was stressed out from it.
Right.
And I mean, that's not a bad thing. You just take a breath and, like go back to it when you're ready. Yeah. But I think when jump scares are in those settings, it's fine. I tend to be a little bit meh about jump scares that are not in those kind of settings because they are a very cheap tactic that can be used cheaply.
In this kind of game, I am very interested in the idea of like emergent jump scares, which is like, hey, a developer did not plan for this moment in the story to be a jump scare. We just set up a mission and put an alien on a ship, and then wherever you go and whatever you do is going to determine when or if the jump scare happens. And that I think cool. is very exciting / potentially maybe doesn't work out in every context or every mission. So I love that.
Because if it was a story heavy game, it wouldn't work out. But the fact that it's not story heavy probably makes it ideal for that. And I'm thinking about it and I'm like, have I ever played a game with that type of emergent jump scare? And I don't know if I have.
Right. Amnesia, which I probably own 600 ways and never played. That was linear or
story,
no?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Heavy story.
Okay.
Heavy story.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely different. Yeah. I can't off the top of my head, I can't think of another game like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I'm going to try it because I do want to know what that is like. And I'm curious. Also, after your description, I'm like, I think I'll do headphones.
Yeah.
I think I'll do headphones. I was looking very forward to doing headphones with Alien Isolation, and it scared the fuck out of me. Dead Space, also, if you ever do end up playing it, that sound design.
My finger was hovering over the buy button. It was on sale for like $5. Oh, Cattail. We got it, ladies and gentlemen. The remake has bad performance, according to various reviews.
I did not know that.
And so it
hi baby.
It put me off. I decided not to buy it, even though it was super cheap.
I did not know that.
I don't know if that depends on I was reading up on it the last time we talked about it, and it was kind of like, game's kind of broken on the performance area, but they're not patching it, so you could take your chances. And I was like, I don't think.
I don't want to do that.
But your mileage may vary. I don't know if that's specific to a platform or whatever.
I bought it on PC. I have to look and see, but
I'll leave you with this funny thing, which is that we are lamenting recently how hard it is to enjoy like grown-up content in our house, because our kids are bigger now and they're staying up late and they are always around us. Like, they want to be around us and with us, which is great. And we love that. But by the time they go to bed, especially it's like February, it's winter break right now. It's like by the time they go to bed, it's 10:30 at night or whatever.
And you need to go to bed soon.
We are exhausted too. So like when I was sick, I started the Game of Thrones, the House of the Dragon show, which is the Game of Thrones prequel, which I really started enjoying, and I cannot watch it. Lauren really wants to watch Heated Rivalry, which is about gay hockey players who want to really do sexy things to each other.
Yes.
And she's like, everyone's talking about the show, and like, I can't watch. There's no opportunity to watch this. So now I'm also thinking about this game, which my son was like next to me, and I'm like, I really want to like get in and have some jump scares, but like they're gonna walk in and freak out.
You'd have to put it on the Steam Deck and play it like in your bedroom or something.
Yeah, but I want
which is hard.
I want it to be big.
Of course. Yeah.
So I guess what I'm saying is like, I'm jealous of your child-free media life at this moment in time. And so go watch some sexy horror things, whatever you want, because you could watch it at 2 PM and no one's going to come in there except for cats.
Right, except for cats, and they don't know what's happening anyway. It's great. They have the intelligence of a 3-year-old. Like, I mean, look at this face. You can she does not.
Hey, yeah.
Hi, baby.
She's a cute one. She?
Yeah, this is Sophie.
Yeah,
Sophie is the boy, and he's taking an eternal nap. Like this morning, I said to my boss at work, who loves him, so I send her pictures all the time. I said, "Can you imagine? You wake up, you eat like a nice breakfast. Someone prepares the breakfast for you, they give it to you, and then you take a 3 to 4 hour nap. Can I get that life? That is like top tier. Like." Served breakfast, back to bed.
I think about that every so often of like, if you don't need to do anything, if you're an animal and your brain is wired to like run and hunt and be afraid of everything and just like sneak around all day, and then somehow by evolutionary or historical happenstance, you happen to be born into a world where you are like in a human house where food just falls out of the sky and you have unlimited safety and care. That's very good for an animal to luck into that life. But I have to imagine there's a part of a dog or cat's brain that's like, what the fuck is this? Like, why I'm so anxious? Why there's something about this life that's super weird. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
like even I feel as someone who's cooped up in the house all day, I'm like, I got to go run around or something,
Yeah, she gets very bored, and she will start to cry.
That's a better way to say
it. In our faces, she will be like, And you can tell like she just wants something to do. She's 5. Ichi's 10, or yeah, he's 10 this year. So like he doesn't care. He's old. He just wants to sleep. But she is bored. She needs stimulation, and you can tell. So yeah, I have thought about that a lot and wondered. One part of me is like, well, if they weren't domesticated and living in homes, they would be living, in the wild, which would up their chances significantly of being killed. So I like the idea that she gets to have a full life in a safe place, and so does he. But you do, they are animals, and a lot of people will be like, oh, I don't want to take the dog for a walk. I don't want to spend an hour playing with the cat. Don't fucking adopt.
Don't have a
animal.
cat. Yeah. I'm not. To be clear, I'm not against pet ownership or adoption. Of course, I think it's wonderful. But there has been research of like, hey, pets might be super bored, and that might not be the best for them. And so that's an interesting.
They are very bored if you don't interact with them and put time into it. And when people are like, "Oh my god, the cat's ruining the sofa," or whatever, I'm like, that's actually your fault. It's
because they're not stimulated. Yeah. No, and this is the reason why we will never own a dog, despite everyone really wanting one. It's just like I don't have the wherewithal to pick up shit at 8:00 on a February night. I can't. I am not able to do that.
Yep. I get it. And good for you for knowing and not being like, oh, my kids want a dog. I'll get a dog anyway.
It's such a trap.
No,
it's such a trap.
Just don't.
And I also don't really like dogs. If I had to pick an animal, I grew up with cats, so I am a cat person. But even then, we're not going to be animal people here.
Fair. Totally
anyway, by the by, Steam Next Fest is coming very soon. I think it's on the 26th.
Yes.
And so many demos are already out. So many games that I'm subscribed to. I got 47 emails from Steam being like, guess what? This thing on your wish list has a demo, or it's in early access, or it's going to be on Next Fest.
Oh, wow.
So, dear listeners, check your wish lists, check your emails. If there's any demos that are popping off that you are trying out, like the Species Unknown or whatever else, let us know what you're going to check out, and let us know what you're playing, and share the wealth. If you're playing something good, do let us know in the Discord. For now, we're going to leave, and we'll talk with you next week.
Bye.
Peace.